Swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this case is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Please be seated, ma'am. And Ms. Castillo, have you ever testified in court?
No.
Okay. My bailiff has given you a cup of water. That's fresh water. We have more behind you if you need some more. Everyone in the courtroom has to hear you, but especially this is my court reporter right here. Her name is Sheila. She cannot see in the back of her head, so she can't tell if you nod or say uh-huh or uh-uh. So we may say, would you please answer yes or no? Is that a yes? We're going to need you to come forward or to bring the microphones up towards your mouth so you can be heard. And lastly, the attorneys are going to have some questions for you. And you may anticipate the questions, and you may want to make sure you get the answers out and start talking before they finish their question. Then Sheila can't take down both of you. She has to make a decision, and then we don't get a perfect record, okay? So with those rules, I'm going to let Mr. Delfunk start the questioning, okay?
All right. Good morning. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. Would you please introduce yourself to the jury? Give us your name.
Hi, my name's Esmeralda Castillo.
All right. And would you mind spelling your name, please?
Esmeralda. Castillo will be Castillo.
Thank you so much. And Esmeralda, what do you normally go by? What name do you normally go by?
I go by Rose.
Rose, okay. Do you mind if I call you Rose? Okay. As I ask you questions, if I ask you anything that you don't understand, just go ahead and let me know, okay? And I can rephrase that question, all right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Rose, can you tell the jury, how old are you?
I'm 18 years old.
18. In July of 2022, when Susana was killed, how old were you then?
16 years old.
And where do you live?
I live in Hoy Taylor Drive in Norcross.
Is it Hoy Taylor Drive?
Hoy Taylor.
Okay. And who do you live with?
My mother and my little brother.
All right. Back in July of 2022, did you live at that same house?
Yes, sir.
And who did you live with at that time?
My mother and my little brother.
Okay. Now, I'm going to show you, if I can, a map here, which has already been admitted as State's Exhibit number 32. All right, I'm going to walk up to now.
Certainly.
Thank you so much. I'm going to stand behind you over here, if I can, so the jury can see. Can you see this as I'm holding it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So on this map here is Singleton Road here, and this is Santa Ana Drive, where Susana lived. Where do you live in relation to Susana?
I lived in the neighborhood across from her.
Okay, so this road, and I'm going to turn this just so we can see everybody here. This road here, directly across the street from Santa Ana Drive, is that Hoy Taylor Drive?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How long, did you ever visit Susana at her home?
Yes.
Did she ever visit you at your home?
Yes.
And how long of a trip is it if you are walking to in between the two of your homes?
Depending on how long it takes for us to cross the road, because that is a busy road, it could take 5 minutes most.
At most.
At most, yeah.
So if it's a really busy day and you have to wait for traffic to pass on Singleton, and it's a bad day, that's at 5 minutes at most.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So less than that normally if it's not busy.
Yes.
How often would you see Susana?
At least once a week at her house.
At her house?
At her house, at least once a week.
And she would come and visit you at your house?
Yes.
Tell the jury, just walk us through a little bit. How did you meet Susana?
I met Susanna in middle school. We had a class together and we just became friends.
What middle school was that?
Red Loft Middle.
And how long before she was killed did you meet her? How long had you known her?
I would say 5 years.
Now, describe your relationship with Susana.
We were friends, as any best friends are. We would argue, but for the most part, we had fun together. We didn't have to do much to be happy around each other.
You described her as, was she your best friend?
Yes.
Okay. What kind of things would y'all do together?
We would go roller skating. We would watch TikToks in my room, paint, play instruments, girl stuff.
I understand. What kind of instruments did y'all play?
I had a piano at my house and a ukulele. She had one of her own as well, so we would use those.
All right. And you said that you met her at Red Loft Middle School. After you finished middle school, did y'all attend school anywhere else together?
We attended Meadow Creek for 1 year together.
Okay. Are you in school now?
Yes.
Okay. And where are you in school at?
I just finished at Phoenix High School.
Did you just graduate?
No, I'm in the current process of getting my diploma.
Fantastic. And so you said that in a week's period of time, how many times did you and Susana hang out in total?
Almost every day.
Almost every day. Now, that's hanging out in person?
Yes.
And as people do, particularly younger teenagers, did you also text and send messages on social media between each other?
Yes.
And was that an everyday thing?
Yes.
Now, describe for the jury, did you call her Susana or did you call her something different?
I called her Susana.
Susana, okay. Was she happy?
She was very happy.
All right. And when y'all were hanging out together, was she happy?
Yes.
You and her were best friends, but were there other people that you two would hang out with in a friend group?
Yes.
Who were they?
That would be Kaya.
All right. Kaya Jones?
Kaya Jones.
Okay. And how did you know Kaya?
We also met through middle school in the same class that I met Susana.
Was that around the same time?
We all met at the same time.
Okay. So you and Susana and Kaya, at the time that Susana was missing, when missing was killed, y'all had been friends for about 5 years?
Yes, sir.
And would y'all spend time together in a friend group?
Yes.
Did you know any of other friends of Susana's, Kelly or Alyssa?
Yes.
All right. And tell me, how did you know them?
Susana introduced me to them.
Okay.
Just
And
a random day.
could you repeat that last part?
Just on a random day, she introduced me to them.
Okay. And how long had you known them? When did you meet them?
I met Kelly maybe a year before Susana went missing, and Alyssa a couple weeks before she went missing.
Okay. Did you ever spend time as a group together with Susana and Kelly or Alyssa?
I spent time with Kelly, yes.
And where would you guys spend time at?
My house.
All right. Now, is your family that you live with, was your mom okay with your friends coming over and spending time at your house?
Yes.
I find that oftentimes in a friend group, there's someone's house who tends to be kind of the hangout house. Was that your house?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And how often would you spend time together with Susana and Kelly and Kaya?
All of us, maybe a couple times a week, 2-3 times.
Mostly at your house or somewhere else?
Mostly at my house.
Did you ever spend time together with them over at the Sterling Glen apartments where Kelly and Alyssa lived?
Yes, sir.
And tell us about that. Where would you go or where would you spend time at over there?
We would be at the park mostly. If not the park, we'd stay on the staircase near Alyssa's house, or we'll just be in Kelly's room.
Okay. Now, during those times when you were hanging out with Susana and the other girls, would y'all ever smoke marijuana together?
I would not.
You would not. Were they ever smoking marijuana while you were
Yes.
there? Okay. I want to take you to July 26th of 2022, the day that Susana was taken. Do you remember that day?
Yes.
And if you would, please tell the jury, where were you at that day?
I was at home.
Had you seen Susana that day?
No.
When was the last time, if you remember, that you saw saw Susana in person before she was taken?
Maybe 2 days prior.
And what were y'all doing?
I believe we were just hanging out at a party and at my house.
Okay. Now, you have phone number. Did you have their phone number? Susana's phone number, Kaya's, Kelly's phone numbers?
Yes.
Would y'all text and call and send messages to one another over the phones?
Yes.
On that night, July 26, 2022, what was the first time that you realized something might be wrong with Susana? What was the first thing that happened?
When her mother had called me asking me where she was, and I had called her and I didn't get a response from her.
Okay, so tell us about that. Did you get a call from Susana's mother?
Yes.
And did you answer that call?
Yes.
And if you recall, what time was that?
I do not remember.
Okay. Now let me ask you, was it daytime or nighttime?
Nighttime.
And what were you doing when you got the call?
I was in bed.
Did you, had you texted with, before Susana's mother called you, had you texted with Susana or talked with her that day?
No.
When Susana's mother called you, did you know where Susana was at that time?
No.
So tell us a little bit about that phone call. What happened during that phone call with Susana's mother?
She called me asking if Susana was at my house. Of course, that's my best friend, so I will back her up. I told her that Susana was leaving while I was able to get enough time to get a hold of Susana.
Okay. So Susana was not at your house, but you told her mother that essentially she was at your house and that she was leaving.
Yes.
Why'd you do that?
Because Susana's my best friend and I didn't want her to get in trouble.
Okay. So so you were covering for Susana.
Yes.
But at that time, when you told Susana's mother that, did you know where Susana was at?
No.
After you, I can imagine, as a best friend, and you just told her mother that, did you try to contact Susana?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
I contacted her, calling her, no response. So I texted her and told her that her mother was looking for her and she better be on her way home before I get in trouble.
Okay. And do you have any idea approximately what time you sent those messages to Susana?
I do not remember what time.
Okay. Did you ever receive a phone call or a text back from Susana kind of acknowledging the messages that you had sent to her?
No.
All right. So after you sent those messages to Susana, tell us what was kind of the next thing that happened that night, if you remember.
I started contacting Kelly and Kaya to see if maybe she was with them. That is when Kelly had informed me that she had hung out with her prior, but she had already left her house.
Okay. So did you call Kelly or did you text her or was it on social media? Do you remember?
I believe I texted her on Instagram.
Instagram. Now, you reached out to Kelly. You were just asking, have you seen her, or what was the nature of the message you sent?
I asked her if she was with Susana.
All right. And what was her response?
She said that she had just left her house.
All right. So once Kelly sent, and did she respond to you on Instagram at that point?
Yes.
All right. Now, after you got that message, what'd you do?
After I got that message, I had contacted Kaya just to double make sure because I didn't have her location. And that is when Kaya, we were just on the phone. I don't remember what happened after that.
Okay. Now, you said you didn't have her location. Do you mean Susana's location?
Yes, sir.
And how would you have had her location?
You can have someone's location through iPhone or Life 360.
Did you have those applications? Well, I know on the iPhone there's the Find My iPhone feature that's on that. Did you have the ability to see Susana's location with the Find My iPhone feature?
I did, but I did not use it.
Okay, so that night you didn't look at the Find My iPhone?
Yes.
Life 360, did you have that application?
Not at that time.
Not at that time, okay. Had you had it before?
Yes.
And when you had it before, were you sharing your location with Susana?
Yes.
Was she sharing her location with you?
Yes.
Now, how long before she was taken did that stop? Did you stop using the Life 360 application?
I don't remember.
Okay. And maybe a better question, just to kind of narrow it down, it was before that day? Was it before that day that you stopped using the Life 360 application?
Yes.
So when you looked, you didn't have any way to see where Susana was at that time?
Yes.
So you, because of that, did you contact Kaya?
Yes.
Now, why did you contact Kaya?
Just to double make sure that she was in the correct area.
Did Kaya, to your understanding, did Kaya have the ability to check and see where her location was?
She did.
I'm sorry?
She did.
Okay. When you called Kaya, did she give you any information about Susana's location?
I don't really remember the conversation we had, but to my knowledge, I don't even think she answered that phone call when I called her. We had talked afterwards.
Okay, so we'll get to that. But you called Kaya did you call her pretty quickly after Susana's mother called you?
Shortly after.
And to your recollection, she didn't answer that call at that time?
Yes.
How long after that did you actually talk to Kaya?
Kaya had called me a couple minutes afterwards.
And so you talked to her at that point?
Yes.
At some point, did Kaya send you screenshots or location information for Susana?
Yes.
What kind of things, what was, if you remember, what did she send you?
She had sent me a crash detection alert that she had gotten through her phone, so it was a screenshot of that, of Susana possibly being in a car crash.
All right. You got that information from Kaya, and when you got it, your best friend possibly being involved in a car crash, what did you do?
I kind of freaked out because I hadn't heard from her, and I knew she wasn't home yet through her mother, so I had gotten on the phone with Kaya to speak about it, and I woke up my sister, and we went to the location of where the car crash was detected.
So your sister, what's your sister's name?
Zaire Parada. Zaire Parada.
Zaire?
Zaire.
Very good. How do you spell that?
Zaire.
All right. And what was her last name?
Parada.
All right. How do you spell that?
Parada.
She was living with you and your mother?
No, she was just there for the night.
Okay. Where does she normally stay at?
I believe she stayed in Sterling Glen Apartments at that time.
Okay. And so you contacted, did your sister ever hang out with Susana? Did you know her?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you contacted your sister and walk us through what happened when you contacted her.
I woke her up. She was sleeping, and I had told her that Susana might possibly be in a car crash. So with that being said, she had contacted her boyfriend, which then me, my sister, and my sister's boyfriend went to the location to check.
All right. You say you went to the location. Do you remember what that location was?
It was these townhomes nearby our neighborhood.
All right. And I'm going to show you something that's already been admitted as State's Exhibit number 51. It's been previously identified as the Oak Lock Trace neighborhood here. Is this where you went?
Yes.
All right. Now, why did you go to that location? If you would, could you put up exhibit number 51's not scanned in. That's the only one that's not scanned in. The Oak Lock Trace neighborhood. Why did you go there?
This is where the location was at.
Okay. Now, you said the location. What location was that?
The location that Life 360 had said her phone was at.
Okay. Now, I'm going to show you here State's Exhibit. It's been admitted. Actually, I don't think it has been admitted yet. Let me show you this. Down here, State's Exhibit number 33. I know this is a big map down here, but I want to draw your attention down here to the bottom right-hand corner. Are you familiar with the area that you live in?
Yes.
Okay. And looking down here at this map on the bottom right-hand side, do you recognize this area?
Yes.
All right. And what is it?
A neighborhood?
Well, just very generally, is this the area, the neighborhood around which you live?
Yes.
Okay. Does it appear to be fair and accurate representation of the area where you live?
Yes.
All right. And then, of course, there's the much larger map of much of Gwinnett County here. As you look at that, just very generally, does this appear to be an accurate map of the area of Gwinnett County?
Yes.
All right. And Judge, I've moved to admit State's Exhibit number 33.
No objection.
Okay, State's Exhibit 33 is admitted without objection.
Judge, may I publish this?
Yes, you may.
Bella, would you mind handing me that easel? Turn this, and I'm going to get out of the way. Okay. And would you mind coming down off the stand just to help me out here for a second?
What's your step? There's 2 steps there, okay?
If you can come around here, and I'm going to turn this so that the jury can see it exactly way. There we go. And Ms. Drake, if you need to move, of course, I'm probably blocking your view.
Ms. Drake, feel free to move wherever you need to move.
Down here on the right-hand side, we're here where it says Susana Morales' home. Does that appear accurate to you? Where her home is? Yes. Okay. And because you're no longer in front of the microphones, you are soft-spoken. If you can, just speak up a little bit and make sure the court reporter and the jury can hear you. The area over here where it says Oak Lock Trace, is that where you went to go look for Susana?
Yes.
You live across the street from Santa Ana, over here on Boyd Taylor. It's maybe kind of cut off a little bit over here. But how far is it from where your house is to the Oak Lock Trace neighborhood where you went and looked?
Maybe around 5 to 6 minutes.
All right. Is that if you're walking or if you're in a car?
In a car.
Okay. And that night, when you went to the Oak Lock Trace neighborhood, were you walking there or were you in a car?
I was in a car.
All right. And who was in the car with you?
My sister and her boyfriend.
Was it your car or was it your sister's car?
My sister's car.
She picked you up?
Her car was at my house when we left.
That's right. She was staying at your house that night. Do you remember approximately what time it was whenever you guys left the house to go search the area?
10:50, maybe.
Okay.
Around that time.
And is this at night, 10:50 p.m.?
Yeah.
All right. Then you can have a seat back on the stand. This out of the sleeves. Thank you, sir. When you got there, tell us what you did when you got to the Oak Lock Trace area.
I was on the phone with Kaya, just so I could see, I could hear the location coming from Kaya's phone. And with that being said, my sister had Susanna's phone number. My sister was calling her phone to see maybe we could find it or find any debris of any sort of car crash. But that road and that neighborhood was very quiet that night. So obviously there was no car crash.
And that was going to be my next question. Did you see anything that looked like there had been a car crash?
No.
Now, when you're walking around, when you got there, did y'all just drive around the neighborhood or did you get out and walk?
We got out and walked
And how much of the neighborhood did you walk around?
the whole neighborhood.
The road that Oak Lock Trace is on, that neighborhood, the main road, Steve Reynolds Boulevard, did you look in the Steve Reynolds Boulevard area there to see if you saw anything?
Yes.
And tell the jury, after going there that night, did you see anything any kind of trace of Susanna?
No.
Did you see her phone?
No.
When your sister called her phone, did y'all hear any ringing or any light or anything like that, or did you find her phone?
No.
How long do you think you were out there looking?
Most 20 minutes. We were out there for a while.
Okay. So you went out there looking. After about 20 minutes, tell us what happened, what you did.
After we had no trace of her or her phone, we just headed back home.
And what's going through your mind at this point?
I was just kind of freaking out because I know she was not at her friend's house. She was not at home. So I was just worried for her safety.
Now, was this kind of behavior from Susanna disappearing and not telling anyone where she was at, not calling or responding to calls or text messages, was that like Susana?
No.
And tell us what you mean by that.
For that behavior is very abnormal. She is definitely the type of person to let someone know, at least one person know, where she is heading.
And you being her best friend, were you oftentimes that person?
Yes.
After you got back to your home, was it after 11 o'clock?
Yes.
All right. Now, after you got back to your home, kind of tell us what happens the rest of the night, what's going on?
I'm just kind of trying to distract my mind from thinking the worst of her that could have happened to her. I'm still checking in with Kaya. She's still updating me on her location, being in the same neighborhood. And I didn't get much sleep. I waited till the morning.
So, even after you got back to your home, you remained in communication with Kaya?
Yes.
And so was Kaya, while you were on the phone, was she providing you updates from Susana's location on Life 360?
Yes.
And during that time, do you recall, did Susana's location ever change from that Oak Lock Trace area?
No.
At some point, did you ever use your Find My iPhone feature to try and see if you could find any information about Susana?
Yes.
All right. And when, if you remember, when approximately did you do that?
A little bit after I had arrived home, so past 11.
Did you get any information from the Find My iPhone feature?
She was at the same location, the neighborhood.
Okay, so your Find My iPhone feature showed her at that Oak Lock Trace area?
Yes.
Now, from the time that Kaya sent you the text message about the crash alert, from that time, did you, how many times do you think you reached out to try and contact Susana?
Every 10 minutes.
Now, how did you reach out to her? Were you calling or texting or social media?
Texting.
Now, at any point after that moment that Kaya sent you that crash alert, did you ever receive any response from Susana?
No.
So you said after you got home, you kind of checking, and then throughout the night, did you remain checking throughout the entire night, or did you go to sleep? What occurred?
Eventually I did fall asleep.
By the time you had fallen asleep, had you received any really new information from anybody about where Susana was at?
No.
When you got up the next morning, just kind of tell us what happened.
I got up the next morning. I had contacted Kaya. She said that she had already spoken to Jasmine and that they had filed a police report. But as we all know, you have to wait 48 hours for a missing person they can start looking for them. So we decided to look on our own.
So the next day, you continued searching?
Yes.
And tell the jury what you did in efforts to locate Susana the next day.
The next day I met up with her sister, Jasmine Morales, and the Oak Lock complex homes, and we just searched for her around there. At that moment, we had already made flyers looking for her as a missing person, and we had received a phone call that was saying that they basically had her. Of course, us not knowing anything, we got scared, so we called 911, and that is when an officer arrived to the scene.
Okay. Now, you said you got a call. How did people... Did you get the call?
I believe it was Jasmine that had gotten that call.
Okay. Throughout looking for Susana, did you receive phone calls from people claiming to have seen Susana or know where she was at or have taken her or something like that?
Yes.
And ultimately, did you attempt to follow up and see if any of those things were accurate?
Sometimes.
Did you ever find any of the information that people gave you, these tips that people called you with, to be accurate?
No.
How did people get your phone number to call you?
I had made a flyer with my phone number on it.
you put was it your personal cell phone number on there?
My personal cell phone number.
How many calls from strangers did you get because of the phone number you put on the flyer?
Throughout the whole time of her disappearance, probably over 1,000 phone calls.
Okay. And during that period of time, did anybody provide you, from those calls, did anybody provide you information that helped you identify where Susana was at or what had happened to her?
No.
A few days after Susana disappeared, do you recall getting a phone call from a blocked or private number?
Yes.
All right. And did you know who was on the other end of that phone call talking to you?
No.
Male or female?
Male.
All right. And when the person called you from the private or blocked number, what was that person asking you about?
That person was just asking me if there was any updates on the case, whether we had found her or not, just wondering about the case.
All right. And did the person ever identify themselves?
No.
Did the person ever tell you that they were a police officer or law enforcement looking into the disappearance of Susana?
I do not recall that.
All right. And the individual on the other line, did they ever provide you with a name or any kind of contact information on how to reach out to them and talk to them?
No.
Did you and Susana ever talk about boys?
Yes.
Talk about boyfriends or boys that you might like, things like that?
Yes.
Did you know Susana's boyfriend, Axel?
Yes.
Did you ever hang out with him?
I was there when she met him.
Okay, so you knew him from the beginning.
Yes.
And how long before Susana was taken did she meet him?
I do not recall an exact date.
Okay. And I don't need an exact date. Just give us an idea, if you can. How long had they been talking?
Maybe a month or two.
And tell us, how did Susana feel about Axel?
She had just gotten out of a really toxic relationship, so Axel was her fresh breath of air. She really liked him.
And you knew Susana, so because she really liked Axel, was she the type of person that would have just decided to randomly go out and hook up with somebody else instead of Axel?
No.
The night that she disappeared, really that whole day, do you recall, did you have any messages with Susana that day?
None.
Susana, did you ever know her to just run away and not tell anybody where she was going?
No.
How was her relationship with her mother?
As any daughter-mother relationship, there was flaws, but for the most part, they got along well.
And she loved her mother?
Yes.
Did Susana ever come to your home to stay whenever she would get into an argument with her mother or anything like that?
Yes.
Would she text her mother or at least let her know where she was at?
For the most part, yes.
Now, after Susana's disappearance, and I don't need an exact number, but you kind of told us about the day after and going and looking for her back at the Oakland Trace. Did you ever go and look after that day, up until she was found? Did you ever go looking other places and canvassing and trying to find Susana?
Yes.
If you can give us an idea, how many times?
20.
And what kind of areas would you go? Where would you go look, and what would you do?
We would go to different towns, Lilburn, Johns Creek. We went in the Alpharetta area, just going around parks, putting up flyers.
Did you ever find any trace of Susana?
No.
After, well, let me ask you, how did you find out that Susana's body was located?
I had gotten a phone call from a friend, and he had told me over the phone.
Okay. Her body was located on February 6th. Do you have any idea how long after that or what day it was that you found out?
I found out that same day when they had put it on the news.
Okay. And what went through your mind at that moment?
I was in shock and disbelief, as any person would be.
Had you ever met Miles Bryant, the defendant?
I didn't know who he was at the time, but I have met him before.
Okay. And you say you didn't know him at the time. I'm going to clarify. Did you have a friendship with or a personal relationship with the defendant anyway?
No.
Had you seen him before?
Yes.
Okay. Now, tell the jury about how many times had you seen him before, if you know?
I would see him around the apartments every once in a while, so maybe 3 to 5 times.
Okay. Now, did you know, seeing him around the apartment complex, are you talking about the Sterling Glen apartments?
Yes.
And did you know that he was a police officer?
No.
Let me ask you, did you ever have any time, not just seeing him, but having any kind of conversation with him?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
There was an instance where me and Susana were walking in the Sterling Glen apartments when we were walking to a gas station right outside of the entranceway, where he had stopped in a black truck asking us if we needed a ride. We had heard from some other people in the neighborhood.
Objection, Your Honor.
I'm going to sustain that objection.
I'm sorry, what was the
Oh,
objection
I
for?
think it's hearsay.
I
Yeah,
heard from some other people.
Oh,
okay. So, ma'am, I'm just going to instruct you not to testify about what anyone else told you. Okay?
yeah. And that's all right. You were talking about walking to the gas station when, and continue from there. You said that the defendant pulled up in his black truck.
Yes.
All right, tell us about what happened when he pulled up.
He was just asking us if we needed a ride, where we were heading. We denied the ride, and we both continued on with our day.
Did you and Susana talk about that interaction?
Not afterwards, no.
Okay. And what was your feeling about that interaction with the defendant?
It wasn't odd for us to get, we were young girls in a neighborhood. It wasn't odd for us to get asked if we needed a ride anywhere, so we just kind of laughed it off and didn't talk about it.
So at the time, and it may be easier for us to look at a map here. Could you put up exhibit number 50? It's already been admitted as kind of as an overall map of the Sterling Glen Apartments. You'll be able to see it here on your television.
Right here on your television.
There we go. Oh. It was there. There we go. All right, can you see that? Mm-hmm. So State's Exhibit 50, here, the Sterling Glen Apartments. Can you see here on this map where that interaction with the defendant took place?
Yes.
All right, and can you point on your screen, if you can, where that took place?
It was around here where the entrance is, because I remember we were walking past the garbage and it smelled bad.
Okay. So you pointed to, and I'm going to show you over here, just over in this, is this area that you're talking about?
More up
Up, okay, up here?
to the left,
To the left.
right there.
Okay. This area right here, is this the main entrance to Sterling Glen Apartments?
Yes.
And where is the gas station that you're walking to?
It's more up there towards the top right corner.
Right. This is labeled on this map as a BP gas station. Is that the gas station that you were going to?
Yes.
Okay. And the defendant, do you remember what kind of truck it was?
I do not remember what type of truck it was.
That's all right. Now, how long did that interaction last?
Very few moments, maybe max 3 minutes. Not long at all.
Okay. After you declined to get in his truck, where did he go? Do you remember?
He was entering the apartments and he just drove off.
So he was coming into the apartments as you and Susana were walking out of the apartments?
Yes.
And after that, he just continued on into the apartment complex?
Yes.
Did you go to the gas station?
Yes.
Were there any other times that you had an interaction with the defendant?
Not one-on-one interactions, no.
I'm sorry?
Not one-on-one interactions.
Okay. Other than that one actual interaction, any other time you saw the defendant was just in passing?
Yes.
Okay. I think those are all the questions I have for you. Thank you, Rose.
The defense may have some questions for you.
Good morning, ma'am. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I am good. I just have a couple of questions for you. You mentioned, well, you didn't specifically say, so I want to clarify something. When you would be with all the other girls, would Susana be smoking marijuana?
Yes.
Are you familiar with any other drugs that she has used?
No.
Do you remember giving an interview to Corporal Conway back in January? It was actually in the early morning hours, 12:33 in the morning. Two officers came to your home.
Yes.
Do you remember telling him that she's never done anything greater than pot or acid?
Yes.
When Susana would ingest drugs, did she know her limits?
Yes.
And do you recall telling the cop that as well? I should say officer, not you slang. The officer, do you remember telling him that as well?
I don't remember telling him that, but I could have.
Okay. All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Anything further?
No, Your Honor.
May we release this witness?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. All right, ma'am, you can step down. You can stay in the courtroom or you can leave.